IDE Mozambique is developing, as far as we know, the world's first ethnobotanical library of medicinal plants that can be used for pest management on the farm. The concept is to be able to approach a community and investigate within that community their own indigenous knowledge around medicinal plants. And once you can identify those medicinal plants and do your research into what are these plants, what's the scientific name, for instance, for the plants, there's a ton of research out there on medicinal plants and their pesticidal properties. There are a lot of opportunities within communities themselves around the plants that they already know how to identify. And the idea is that we're not coming in and saying, here are a bunch of plants, you should use these for the following purposes. It's saying, what are the plants that you use? What are the plants that you know? Maybe we can identify some others along the way as well and help to trade some of that knowledge between communities. But at least in Mozambique, every community has 30 different medicinal plants, and they may be different plants in different parts of the country, but those plants are there, and there is a lot of indigenous knowledge that isn't being captured. So the idea behind this library is not just documenting a few plants, and it's not just experimenting to determine whether or not a couple of these medicinal plants are working or not. It's actually collecting all of this scientific evidence that already exists, coupled with the community level investigation into what is available and what is the local knowledge around them. I think the idea is, it's a really cool one. It's a little abstract to get into, but it's something that I think is one of the most exciting ideas that we have. Not every medicinal plant is necessarily going to be beneficial for pest management, though a lot of them are, and they're not necessarily all going to work on the same things. For example, we do know that for scale insects, that tobacco is a particularly good pesticide, whereas neem, scale insect, is very often resistant to neem. Having maybe that combination of neem and tobacco together will actually be a more potent, more varied pesticide for certain kinds of insects and certain kinds of crops. So what we've seen so far is that the people in the communities, the elders in particular, the keepers of that knowledge, are really excited to learn that there's some pest management ability of these plants, but they don't actually know it. They know that this plant, cacana for example, is good for malaria, to prevent and to treat malaria. They don't know that can also be used to ward off certain kinds of pests. So to be able to present them with that knowledge so that they're understanding, hey, this plant that we already know, that we already respect for this scientific value, medicinal value, actually has other benefits that we can use on the farm, that's fantastic.